Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special X-Pound crossover. My name is James Phoenix, representing Rise from the Airwaves. Joining me is Marky Shadow, representing Showtime.
Yo.
And this is an official crossover for Rise from the Airwaves Disney Month. Yeah. So,
When you wish upon a
upon a
star.
star, who's the leader of the club that's made for you and me?
Oh, God.
M-I-C-K-Y-M-O-U-S-E. Alright, that's enough. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, for the month of July and possibly a little into August, depending on how long it takes me to edit this stuff, will be Disney month on Rise from the Airwaves. Unfortunately, a lot of, quality Disney things are pertaining to the movie. So in order to have a more rounded experience, Marcus Shadow is joining me to take a look at some Disney films. Specifically, we, in discussion of Disney films, came to the realization that we share the same favorite Disney film, that being the film we're going to discuss today, Aladdin.
Arabian Nights.
Don't ever sing that.
Yes, boss.
Just no. But anyway, yes, Aladdin, of course, came out in, I believe, was it 94 that Aladdin came out, I believe?
I'll take a look.
I'm way ahead of you. I was just going to see if you knew it off the top of your head.
I think it was 92.
Let's see. Aladdin hit theaters on November 25th, 1992. You are correct. So, early 1992, during the what is called by some the Golden Age of Disney, by others the Second Golden Age of Disney, depending on your age and your perception of the timeline of Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, being a classic, being surrounded by such other classics as The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, etc. The film is, of course, based on the tale of Aladdin from the collection of Arabian Nights of ancient times, and it was chosen to be adapted by Disney into a musical, something that was rather unique, as this was the first time a completely historical based piece was adapted, something that ancient. Other adaptations that had preceded it were, of course, classic fairy tales that had been around for a very long time, Robin Hood, stories like this. The Sword and the Stone, of course, an ancient, fairly old tale, but things that were, legitimately attributed to being older than people could trace were not, all that common. So this was something very, very new, as well as, I believe, if memory serves, the first time Disney tackled an animated production that was not of a Western European origin. So
Also, as another milestone that this movie took part of, I believe you told me while we were watching the movie that this was the first Disney film ever to attempt to use computer-generated animation.
that's right. Yes, it is. In some of the scenes, specifically featuring the Cave of Wonders, during the Cave of Wonders escape scene, and the large lion head Cave of Wonders tiger, whatever, big cat head itself, were computer animated, and this was the first time that Disney really tried to use computer animation in one of its productions to great success, leading to future Disney animated productions such as Meet the Robinsons, and of course, leading them to later by Pixar for many, many more classic computer-generated animated productions, to today where Disney makes nothing but computer-animated productions.
This is true. But as I stated during the movie, even by today's standards, the CG in this movie still stands up, and it's still breathtaking animation, my opinion.
It is very good. It is very good. Because it's not that it in itself it is impressive, but it's even better by the fact that it is seamlessly blended into the traditional 2D animation around it, and that's part of the
Yes.
difference. Is that a lot of times when this sort of animation is used, especially if it's blended with traditional animation, it's very obvious what is computer generated and what is hand animated. This is very well blended in, so that what you can sort of tell, it doesn't take you out of the frame of mind of the film.
Yep. I think that's also a testament to the Disney artists as well, how well they actually drew the 2D stuff.
It is, it is. And Aladdin is also testament to being a classic film in that it is only, if memory, only the second the second Disney feature-length animated production to spawn a sequel, and the first to spawn a threequel.
Ah,
Of course, the first to spawn a sequel, of course, being The Rescuers.
of course.
Although The Rescuers Down Under did not actually come out until after Aladdin, I believe.
I believe you're correct.
Yes. So, with that said, we have recently reviewed the film. We both own the Platinum Edition DVD. I do encourage you to go out and purchase it. It is supposedly available on the internet. I mean, obviously it's in the quote-unquote Disney Vault, because we do that.
It's
But,
worth it for the music alone.
yes, it does have excellent, excellent music. Yep.
And for those of you who don't know, the other thing that brought Jim and I together for this one is that we both happen to be musicians. Jim being a vocalist and myself being somewhat of a pianist. Not professionally, mind you, but we have done our fair share in our youth.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, we're musicians to a point. And so, yeah, the music is, of course, one of the most classic things about Aladdin. In terms of Disney productions that are heavily based around their music, I think it's generally accepted that Aladdin is second only to The Lion King.
I can agree with that.
And a lot of great, great songs. The only unfortunate thing about the songs in Aladdin, well, there's two unfortunate things. Number one, that so many songs were cut. And number two, that so much of the music was rehashed in the sequel Return of Jafar.
Ouch.
And I don't mean literally rehashed that they sang the same songs. I mean more along the lines of the existing composed music was sort of tweaked a little bit and then new lyrics were added.
So they use the same melodies, different lyrics.
Not really the same melodies even per se. It's iffy. If you listen to some of them, you'll see the kind of
they did new arrangements with the same musical themes?
Pretty much.
Ah, okay.
And even within the same film, for example, in Return of Jafar, and for reference audience, there will be an upcoming joint review of Return of Jafar and Aladdin and the King of Thieves, once we get to watching them later in the week. But you'll know in Return of Jafar, there's two songs. There's Iago's song, I'm Looking Out For Me, and Jafar's song, You're Only Second Rate. If you listen to them, they're pretty much the same song.
They were running out of ideas.
Pretty much. Which is why it's an excellent thing, and why Aladdin and the King of Thieves is a much better movie, because it has more original composition in it again.
But we'll get into that later.
Indeed, back to the original Aladdin.
Yes.
As was mentioned, Aladdin is based on the, of course, original Arabian Night tale of a young boy, poor boy living on the streets of an Arabian city, who stumbles across a genie and uses its magic to win the heart of a beautiful princess and save her from the evil royal vizier of her father, the Sultan. That much is not changed. However, for anyone who knows the original story of Aladdin, a significant amount of it is changed for the Disney production, as with most Disney adaptations. Nothing. There aren't changes as drastic as in some other Disney productions. For example, let me ask, off the top of your head, Marcus, do you happen to know the Disney production with the most drastic change in it from an original source material?
I do not, but it does not surprise me that Disney saw fit to make changes to the original source material. Because let's face it, for kids.
Uh-huh.
And like you look at the heart of the Aladdin story, this story's not for kids, man.
Not,
It's dark.
not really. Actually, the film that, to the best of my knowledge, has the greatest change from its original source material is actually The Little Mermaid.
Ah, that doesn't surprise me.
Because in the end of the original, the initial version of The Little Mermaid, from what I've read, apparently she doesn't get the prince and she kills herself.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Slight change there, but yeah. So that's if you want to learn more about that, head over to a website called Crack.com and look up the list of 7 family-friendly movies based on R-rated origins.
Yeah.
So do check that out. With that said, the original story of Aladdin is actually different from what you see in the Disney production. Specific differences include, most notably, the fact that in the original version there are actually 2 genies.
Okay.
In the original Aladdin, there were 2 genies. There was a genie of the ring, and then the genie of the lamp.
That's right.
The Genie of the Ring was a less powerful genie who could do certain things, but had limitations, whereas the Genie of the Lamp could do damn near anything, and the Genie of the Ring could not override the magic of the Genie of the Lamp, but the lamp could override the ring. And in the original production, once the lamp was stolen by Jafar, as it is in the film, Aladdin actually uses the powers of the Genie of the Ring to get it back and save the day. Um, in the initial drafts of the Disney Aladdin film, when it was first put together, much of the original story was included, including a number of deleted characters that don't appear in the final version, including Aladdin's three friends, Babka, Omar, and Kasim, as well as the character of Aladdin's mother, who we'll get into a little bit more in a bit. But a lot of characters were deleted, and a lot of the plot was initially changed. It was initially going to be a subplot of Aladdin leaving his friends to be Prince Ali, trying to make his mother proud. All these subplots that never came about, and so a lot of this was rewritten and simplified down into the story that we have and know of as in the Disney film today. So it is one of those things where history was tweaked enough to make it more suitable for a modern Western audience.
Well, I think it's also what was also modified because they probably realized, hey, this is like you said, is way too dark for a younger audience. B, it's way too complicated for the medium, and oftentimes, especially with book adaptations, specifically with book adaptations to movies. I mean, movie adaptations specifically, book adaptations to movies. A lot is changed from the book to make it suitable for a movie because some things in a book you can't do in a movie, and there's also the time limitation of a movie, which means you're gonna have to condense a lot of stuff, simplify stuff, or merge stuff just to get the core of the story in the movie in the allotted time. And I think with Aladdin, what they have in this movie, I think they did it right. And I think the stuff they chose to remove, the stuff they chose to change, I think served the movie in a better capacity because by focusing it solely on Aladdin himself and his journey, they can actually bring out the morals of the story, and the morals come through, I think, very strongly in this movie. The messages that they're trying to portray, and that's what Disney is about, or was at least back in those days. It was about not only having good entertainment and a good movie, but having a good message for the kids. And this movie has it all: good music, good story, and a good message for the kids.
Mm.
But
Well,
it's dark.
it is. I would honestly say, looking at some more, I would say Disney still has that message.
They do.
I think their more recent productions certainly portray it. Most recently, I would say Princess and the Frog and Tangled both have this message very well. Princess and the Frog more so, but because in Princess and the Frog, Tiana, Princess at the end, but Tiana has to learn the message of sometimes, what you want is not necessarily what you need,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Right.
sometimes you have to learn to accept that sometimes you give something up to get something better. Whereas at the same time, the prince had to learn pretty much the same message, whereas he wanted his money back, but what he needed was Tiana. So
Right.
that's sort of the message there, and of course, Tangled's Tangled's message is a little more simply. It's sort of it's just sort of a nice, heartwarming. You can always come home. There's
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. Home is where the heart is. That kind of simple message.
Mhm.
But anyway, Aladdin.
Well, yeah. Since we're talking about messages, I'd like to speak about Aladdin's messages, which
Please
are actually
speechify.
very complex. There's actually a couple of messages. One is primarily for the young kids, primarily for the boys, but for just young kids in general, and that's through the eyes of Aladdin. Of you know, if you have to be true to yourself. If you lie about yourself, about who you are, kind of thing. This about relationships and whatnot. And I think that's such a great message of just don't try to be someone you're not, because people will be able to see right through it, and oftentimes it will harm people. Now, the convoluted, complex message for kids, because it's more of an adult message, is they tackled kind of the issue of an arranged marriage, and is an arranged marriage right or wrong? Is it good for the girl being, sent off to be married? Should that girl have her choice? And I think it also reflected the shift in the way of thinking in the cultures with arranged marriages, because around that time, that's when the quote modern unquote way of thinking started to arise in society, where a lot of young women, girls, in cultures with arranged marriages started saying, well, wait a minute, I want to choose who I marry. I want to marry out of love. I don't want to marry because you say I have to marry this person. And so they chose to tackle that issue, and I thought it was a very adult issue to be put into a children's movie like this, but they did it tastefully, and I think they did it well. And I think they got the message across.
I can agree
But
with that. However, I think you're misconstruing it slightly.
what's up?
In the film, it's not that Jasmine has an arranged marriage. She can marry whoever she wants, as long as he's a prince.
Right, but it's more about the choice of marriage instead
Yeah,
of
you're right.
being
The choice is
forced.
still there. I'm just saying, an arranged marriage would be, when Jasmine was born, the Sultan went to some other Sultan or king and said, okay, when they grow up, your son is going to marry my daughter, and that was it. In this case, it wasn't that. Jasmine could have any prince that she wanted. We see at least four different princes, not including Ali himself, come to try to court her over the course of the movie, and she shoots them all down. Or at
Right.
least three are referenced to her scene, including Ali. So, it's not that she doesn't have options, it's just that she has to choose a prince, and that is the limitation. Not that she has to choose, she only has
Yeah,
one
she has
person.
limited options, and the law basically says you will choose from these limited options, or your father's going to put you into an arranged marriage.
This sort of.
That's literally what it is. That the Sultan will. The law said in the movie. They said the law said the Sultan chooses, um, basically the husband of his daughter if his daughter refuses to choose. So they're literally forcing the law. Literally forces the daughter of the Sultan into a marriage she may not necessarily want,
Mhm,
and it's tackling that entire issue of is that right? And
mhm.
you have a princess like Jasmine who is saying that's wrong. I want to be able to choose who I want, not from a limited amount of men. I want to choose from everybody. I want to choose from the heart, not out of duty. And I think that's the big message there. And like I
True to
said,
your
it was it
heart,
speaks
you
of a
must be
shift
true to
in
your
in
heart.
society.
Yeah, very true, very true. Yeah, that's a very valid point.
And it's still a very adult theme and a very adult issue to be tackling in a children's movie.
You think that's an adult theme? Look at Genie. They pretty much tackled slavery.
This is true too. I hadn't thought of that. That's very true. Yeah, there's very a lot of adult themes. And if you look at it, if you strip everything that's kiddie about this movie away, it's a very adult movie with like a kiddie skin thrown over it. If you think about it, it's kind of like Harry Potter in that fashion.
Pretty much.
Because Ray Fiennes himself, Voldemort himself, said in the behind the scenes stuff, if you strip away the hand holding of Harry Potter and you look at what the core of the Harry Potter story is, it's about an old man tormenting a young child. That's not kids' fare. And I thought about that. I said, Rafe, you're right. I hadn't thought about that. Aladdin is very much the same way. A lot of the issues in this movie are so adult that if you take everything away and get to the core of Aladdin and the messages in it, it's not really kids' fare. They tried to lighten it up. You can still see the dark overtones by how they presented it, kind of because some of it they had to present it that way. And I applaud Disney for doing that, for having the balls to say, yes, we're making it for kids, but we're not going to sugarcoat it.
Well, that's been Disney's MO for decades, though. I mean, look at the film. Look at the films, for example. Let's look at the films surrounding Aladdin, just for example. Let's look at Beauty and the Beast. Don't judge a book by
Right.
its cover. Appearances are not what they may be. Because at the end, the Beast turned out to be, the good man, and Gaston turned out to be the Beast. Look at, for example, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Same thing, book by its cover. And also, don't trust creepy old dudes.
Yeah.
Um,
But I think, was it not, and I could be wrong, but I think Aladdin was the first movie of its kind in that respect, where Disney basically grew a pair of balls and was like, okay, we want to make something educational for the kids. We want to make something that has a deep meaning. We want to make something that the parents can discuss with their children, and that's not necessarily going to be sugar-coated children's fare. We want something that's going to stand the test of time, for families. It's good family entertainment, but it's also got good messages that can be discussed by the entire family. And I think that is why Disney's stuff, most of their stuff, is so timeless, is because it has everything across the board for the entire family, good, bad, or otherwise.
well, that's true. I mean, strictly speaking, if you look at surrounding Aladdin itself, Beauty and the Beast was right before Aladdin. So
Okay.
you might count that one. Little Mermaid was two films before that.
Fair
Oh,
enough. Fair enough.
also I lied. Actually, The Rescuers Down Under was released in 1990. So actually, no, the sequel was out beforehand.
Oops. But yeah, all those movies in that. You're
Yeah,
right. All
that
that movies in that time. That's why those movies are so good. I mean,
yeah
that and music is great.
yeah, and then right after that, let's do The Lion King. How about Murder? How about outright murder?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, for crying out loud, yeesh. I mean that
Yeah.
outright murder. Well, I mean even before that, I mean look at some of these earlier things. 101 Dalmatians. Cruella wanted to skin the damn dogs. I mean all this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
It's there's some
It's
dark stuff there, but yeah, and it's certainly simply. I mean, I'm right to The Lion King. How about Pocahontas? Let's not even go there.
yeah, really. But see,
So
that's why I really do love a lot of these Disney movies, and even when I go back to see it today, like we just watched Aladdin again, I still find new and interesting things about the movie when I see it. I see it differently because I'm older now, and that's because Disney has crafted their movies in such a way that no matter what age you are, you will find something to like about the movie. It will appeal to you,
exactly.
and I mean, that's probably the greatest compliment I can give to Walt Disney himself and the movies that he and his company have made is that your movies are timeless because it appeals to everybody of all ages, no matter the generation.
That's exactly the point. Yeah, it really is timeless to all generations, and that's why these movies endear on. That's why even that is why a film that was made. Let's see, how many years? That was made 77 years ago. People still watch. It's still a classic, and all the characters can be named from today.
What movie is that?
The first, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, 1936.
That is true. That is true.
That's why even the films from back then, well, not all of them are. I mean, not everybody remembers, say, Melody Time or Make Mine Music, but most people remember the classics. Snow White, Pinocchio, the classics from back then. People still watch
Yeah.
and talk about and remember those as classics today and show them to their kids, their grandkids, and everything else because they are timeless classic films. And that's
Yeah.
unfortunately one of the sad things I'm seeing in a trend today is more along the lines of a lot of these. I don't, while these films are something you would show your kids and grandkids, 10 years from now, are you going to show your kids Tangled?
Right. Exactly.
That's a unfortunate thing. But back to Aladdin. We're tangenting. We're tangenting. Stop.
Hey, that's what having a conversation is all about, and it's about the basis of Aladdin, so it works.
Yeah. Well, going back to Aladdin here.
Yes.
We've been kind of dancing around this. Let's go into the meat here. Let's talk about the music.
Talk about the what?
The music.
Yes.
We've been kind of dancing around this. So let's get into the music. First of all, are you aware of the primary controversy surrounding one of the songs in the film?
Do tell. Do tell.
Well, there's actually the initial the peddler song from the beginning of the film.
Okay.
Um, in the original, there was a lyric that it was changed in the peddler song that opens the film Arabian Nights.
Okay.
In the original, in the song as most people know it is. Oh, I come from a land, from a faraway place, where the caravan camels roam. Where it's flat and immense and the heat is intense. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. And it goes on from there. But that was actually changed. Specifically, they were changed in July of 1993, about 6 months after the film came out, because of protests from the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, because that's apparently a thing, over a lyric because it was changed to that because they felt it was offensive toward the culture of Arabic nations because the original lyric was "Oh, I come from a land, from a faraway place where the caravan camels roam, where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home." And they found that particular lyric rather offensive, so they forced it to change it. And in all subsequent productions, the lyric has changed.
Hmm.
The
Interesting.
DVD releases, etc. That was all changed. So yeah. Other than that, though, the music is generally beloved. Pretty much any list you can pretty much Google list of top Disney songs, and pretty much any list you find is going to have A Whole New World as a number one. I have yet to see a list that does not,
Yeah, it's my favorite Disney song.
and there's certainly good reason for that. And overall, all the songs are certainly very good. Um,
And Robin Williams can sing. Who knew?
Anybody who's seen Aladdin.
Well, I mean, prior to Aladdin.
Well, yeah, I guess he hasn't done much singing prior to that. I guess that's true. That's true. But hey, why not? I mean, the thing is, most comedians can sing, from what I've found.
True, true.
A lot of comedians can sing. It works. I mean, and in all fairness, is it you have to define what counts as singing and what doesn't count as singing, because there's singing and there's talk singing your way through a
Right.
song. It depends. I mean, anybody can. I mean, it depends on if you have a voice. Anybody can talk sing their way through a song and make it sound halfway decent. But to actually be able to sing a song, especially if you're not known to be a singer, is rather impressive. So that's why in in the next in the Lion King actually. Most people are rather impressed with Jeremy Irons for actually trying to sing "Be Prepared" rather than talk sing his way through it,
Yeah.
um, and blowing out his vocal cords in the process. But at any rate, back to Aladdin. So, and the fact that Aladdin's good, the fact that Jonathan Freeman actually sings the reprise of Prince Ali, the Jafar song. You know, Robin Williams sings the genie songs, although he does not sing the songs of the peddler, who he does do the speaking voice of. But the music is as timeless as any in a classic Disney production, from you know Friend Like Me to Whole New World to Prince Ali.
Prince Ali.
All these songs, they really are great songs. Of
Yeah.
course, all of them written by the great team of Howard Ashman and
Alan Menken.
Alan Menken. Thank you.
Cool.
Their last partnership together before Howard Ashman's unfortunate death during the production of the film. That's why there are Aladdin currently is in the from my research in a three-way tie for Disney animated Disney picture with the most deleted songs. Currently at 8. Uh,
Who are they in the tie with?
it's currently tied for 8 deleted songs with Alice in Wonderland
Hmm.
and Cinderella.
Oh, okay.
Those three are tied with 8 deleted songs each. And as far as our research has shown, I was trying to stick to animated pictures, but even outside animated pictures, um, in pretty much all of Disneydom, the only production that had more deleted songs was Mary Poppins.
Wow.
And Mary Poppins had like 12. But yeah, there are 9 deleted songs, and unfortunately, the majority of them are good songs and were not deleted for being bad songs. And that's one of the worst things about it, is that they were deleted because, as I mentioned, in the earlier script, a lot of changes were made. The characters of Aladdin's friends and mother were removed. The extra genie, a lot of plot elements changed. And as a
And
result
they
of
were
that,
written for elements that were no longer in the movie, so therefore they couldn't use the songs.
exactly, so the songs no longer fit, so they had to delete all these songs. Although two of them, not necessarily, two of them could have fit. Because there were not one but 2 songs were actually written for Jafar as villain songs. The first one being "Why Me," which is basically Jafar lamenting why bad things happen to him and why he's has such bad luck and
And
is
it is on that special edition DVD. There are 4 deleted songs there, and that's one of them.
yes. The other one of his "Humiliate the Boy," which was basically would have been in the place of the reprise of Prince Ali, exposing Aladdin in front of Jasmine and the people of Agrabah, etc., etc.
Which is
Uh,
also on that DVD. And I think I think that would have been a better song than what they used, but I can understand why they deleted it because it is quite a dark song and probably a little too dark for kids.
Right. Anyway, there are a number of other deleted songs, including 2 songs that were performed by Aladdin and his group of friends, 2 songs dedicated to or about Aladdin's mother, the character, and a number of others. So, and also deleted was Jasmine's solo song, um, for very good reason. Primarily because that song entitled "Don't Call Me a Princess" effectively Jasmine, who was meeting with one of the suitors that was trying to win her heart, basically acting like the most bitchy, stereotypical princess you would ever see in your life in an attempt to make him not want to marry her. Talking
Mm-hmm.
about, oh, I'm a princess. I'm gonna need all these things. I'm gonna, basically, I'm gonna use your money. I'm gonna do all this. Basically, being the complete epitome of spoiled brat to try to chase this guy away, and it did not fit with Jasmine's character at all, which is the reason they deleted it, and it was the right decision.
Right.
But otherwise, there are a lot of great, like I said, all the deleted songs can be found. If you want to hear more about some of these, come down at the end of the month where you'll see my top 20 deleted Disney songs. Check that out.
And I helped with the list.
He helped with the list. So do check that out around the end of July, possibly beginning of August. Stay tuned for that. But back to Aladdin itself. Let me pose you a question.
Yes.
First time, you remember the first time you saw Aladdin?
Not really. I was way young when Aladdin aired.
You don't remember.
I'm old, people.
Yes, for those of you that don't know, Marcus Shadow is currently our resident senior of the X Pound.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But yes, he was, being there. There is a decent age gap between the two of us, and as a result, whereas, for example, at that point in time, I was 4. Marcus was
I was in high school. Maybe. Well,
it was
no, I was in middle school.
92,
I was in
yeah,
middle school.
middle school, so a little bit different there. Um, but I do know that like I said, I don't really remember it per se, but I believe I was told that I believe Aladdin is the first movie I actually sat through in the theater as a kid.
Nice.
And I
Must
know
have been music.
something like that. I just know that was. I know my mother took me because I remember my mother took me to see it because I know I went with my mother to see the movie, and I've been told that I don't know if it was just because I saw the commercials and wanted to see it or whatever, but my mother took me to see the movie, and I loved it. That was my favorite movie for many, many, many years. Even to this day, in terms of Disney films, Lion King has come to rival it very closely, but Aladdin still edges it out just barely.
Yeah.
Um, but in terms of overall, that's always my favorite movie as a kid growing up, and so I remember that being the first movie that I had ever really seen in the theaters. I don't remember actually having seen it, but I'm told that was the first movie that I maybe not none of, I don't know if it was the first movie I went to theaters to see, or the first one I sat through or something. I don't know, but it was some relevant thing to my childhood about the film. So that's why I know it's kind of had a place for me and why it was always my favorite film. And I always knew the songs. I could sing the songs.
Right.
And why I portrayed the genie in the 8th grade production of Disney Magic. Thank you very much.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Did you play him like Robin Williams?
Not really. I wasn't given much leeway.
Aw.
It was 8th grade. Well, part of it was my own fault. Uh,
You-
Long story
What?
very, very short, I ran into the problem of I was both on the drama club and the yearbook committee, and they met at the same time. So I had this issue of having to choose which one to go to, and I chose yearbook a little too much. And so I wasn't there for a lot of the rehearsals, so I really didn't get to do much. I still got to be the genie, because I managed to, near the end, I started coming to more of the meetings, and they at least let me be the genie, which I had said from the beginning I'd like to be the genie, and they let me. But unfortunately, I didn't get to do, I didn't get to sing Friend Like Me.
Aw.
Now I don't know if that was because of the fact that they wanted to let me be the genie, but they didn't want me singing the song. I don't know if they did that intentionally, or if that's the way it was written in the production originally. I don't know to this day.
What was it? A musical production?
Yes, it's called Disney Magic. It's effectively it's a musical production that was written for middle school. This is middle school. This is 8th grade. Middle schools to perform, and effectively it's a compilation of songs from a variety of Disney productions with some cutscenes, some interaction of Disney characters between. It opens. Um, Effectively, the whole choir, quote unquote, of the production comes in wearing Mouseketeer shirts and hats. It comes into the Mickey Mouse March. Then Mickey and Minnie Mouse come out. They sort of introduce the production, and they sort of have interactions with some different Disney characters in between songs. And then there's medleys of songs of the different Disney songs that play.
Oh, they
It's,
should have let you sing Friend Like Me.
they should have. It was sang by the choir as a whole, so technically I did sing it, just not solo. Um, but I wasn't dressed as the genie at the time. That wasn't part of the whole situation because the genie actually appeared in an earlier cutscene. It was not tied to Aladdin because, like I said, they were interacting. So
Right.
he did appear. Like I said, I don't know if that's how the production was written or if because I know as far as I know, there were not that many solo songs that I can recall. Most of them were sung by the choir as a whole. The
Mhm.
only solo one that really sticks out in my head specifically was Beauty and the Beast, which the girl who was playing Mrs. Potts did get to sing that. But
Nice.
but beyond that, I think that was the only. I know there's that, and I think the girl that played Ariel sang "Part of Your World." Those two particularly stick in my mind. I can't remember what others were solo, if any.
Cool. Well, back to Aladdin.
Yes, but anyway, I'll tell you more about that after we record. But yeah, so
Yes.
I did play the genie. Unfortunately, I played the genie, but because people don't know what these people look like, I was dressed like Aladdin, which made no sense.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
because here's what happened. I was wearing the vest and the fedora.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically not the fedora, the little the fez.
Fez.
I had the vest. I was wearing a vest and a fez, and that was pretty much my genie costume. I had a vest and
So
a
you were playing the peddler.
I had a vest and a fez, and I had my arms crossed, and I said the line, "Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it." That was my job. I got basically I was standing out there, and Ariel was sitting on her little rock made out of a crate that we made because mermaid can't really stand. And I was standing there, and Ariel was there, and somebody else was there, and Ariel was I think was it Sebastian maybe, I can't remember. All I know is Ariel was lamenting about I wish I could be on there with the prince, and my job was to say, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it, and that was the pretty much the extent of my performance as the genie. But
Ah.
I don't have it anymore, but I did at the same time during that same year. I was in art class, and I made a really badass genie mask in art class. That took me forever to make into the next unit because kept building the chin out. It was all paper mache and stuff. It was heavy as hell. You couldn't wear it because the Velcro kept breaking, but it looked awesome.
Nice.
I don't have that anymore either, unfortunately. That kind of got destroyed over the years. But anyway, back
Oh.
to this. So
Mm-hmm.
back to Aladdin. Like I said, favorite Disney production. It really is one of the classic Disney films of that era, right in there with Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Pocahontas, Mulan, all those movies that fit in that particular era, Hunchback of Notre Dame. All those films of that era are
Right.
considered the golden era of Disney, and the era
Right.
that most people think of when they think of classic Disney, along with some of the very early ones, obviously Snow White, Pinocchio, Cinderella, and I said Aladdin is just one of those films that pretty much everybody knows when you bring it up, and it was successful enough that I believe. Not quite true, I guess. Again, I think Aladdin again is one of those things that's tied for the most spin-off things it has had.
Mm.
Two sequels, an animated series. That's of course tied with Little Mermaid, which of course has a sequel and a prequel, and then its animated series. That's being the only thing that ties it in terms of franchise size for Disney. Not counting the overall combined princess thing that they do, or that Tinkerbell crap. But
Right.
with that aside, yeah, Aladdin's been obviously very successful for Disney. Still successful to this day. The Aladdin characters are still, totally well known. They still appear in little Disney compilation productions here and there, and just listen, a great, great film, great messages, great music, and like I said, the Diamond Edition DVD is currently available online if you can find a copy. As I said, it's in the Disney Vault, so it's not available from official retailers by any means. But you
So
should be.
isn't it available on Blu-ray?
No, it was a Platinum DVD release only. There is a,
Oh,
there is a trilogy Blu-ray that was released that you can buy. You can buy a trilogy Blu-ray with all three of the Aladdin films on it.
and there should be a solo one too, because I know for the Lion King one they released both the trilogy and solo. Because I
Yes,
have
yes,
just the Lion King itself.
yes, but the King one came out long after Aladdin. Blu-ray wasn't yet a standard when the Aladdin
Uh,
DVD was released.
well, hopefully they'll re-release Aladdin because I would really like to get that on Blu-ray.
It's coming. It's coming. I was just looking up that information actually. Well, apparently the Diamond Edition did have an Aladdin Blu-ray. I lied. There was a Blu-ray for that edition. My apologies.
Ah, well you can probably
There,
find
there,
that
there is a
still.
Blu-ray. It is like I said, this is Blu-ray.com. I'm seeing it on, but it is you can find different things there. So apparently it's yeah, look online. You might find it's around somewhere. It was released in one. I don't know. It's actually a Blu-ray DVD combo pack actually.
Right, right, exactly.
It is available there. But there is another Aladdin release that's scheduled, I believe, for the fall. This
Okay.
coming fall, I believe. Give me one moment here. Aladdin fall 2013. Let's see. Here we go. This is from the Disney Wiki. Let's see what we got here. Because there's different editions that they do with this. They have the Diamond editions, and then there's additional editions that they're releasing over the. Oh no, that was the. No, which is the one that we have?
Platinum edition.
Yeah, the Platinum. There's a Diamond edition that's coming soon. Thus far, they've released Diamond editions of Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, Bambi, Lion King, Lady and the Tramp, Cinderella, uh, Peter Pan, and The Little Mermaid is coming in October. The Jungle Book is coming in spring. Oh, so they pushed Aladdin back because
Okay.
Aladdin was originally scheduled to come up this year, but I think I believe it was supposed to be Aladdin was supposed to be out this past spring, this right now. But what it is they actually replaced it with Peter Pan because it's Peter Pan's 60th anniversary.
Ah,
But Aladdin is scheduled to have a diamond release, U.S. only, coming up. It hasn't been announced yet. Little Mermaid and Jungle Book are also out. Little Mermaid is coming out in October. Jungle Book and Sleeping Beauty are slated for 2014, spring and fall respectively.
ah,
But the
there.
Aladdin Diamond Edition should be coming at some point soon. Hopefully, that is on its way. I read something about it.
I'm gonna have to get that Little Mermaid.
Yeah, it should be en route here. Let me see.
Excellent.
Yeah, I want to get the Blu-ray on that as well. The Diamond Edition releases. Let's see. Here, let's see. It's just history. It's just Snow White, President's Day, Peter
You
Pan.
will be editing most of this out.
Well, yeah. Initially, Aladdin was supposed to be replaced by Fantasia, but Fantasia was re-released separate from the Diamond Edition line in a two-film collection with Fantasia 2000. According to an insert in the Diamond Edition of Lady and the Tramp, it was unexpectedly announced that Aladdin was scheduled to be released as a Diamond Edition in spring 2013. However, in the insert to Cinderella, it was announced that Peter Pan would instead be the spring release to celebrate the 60th anniversary. To date, there has been no confirmation whether Aladdin will be released as a Diamond at a later time, and no confirmation of a 3D version. Okay.
Oh, it will be.
But,
It will be.
but Disney plans to release all the Diamond Edition titles by 2016.
Yeah. Yeah, Aladdin's coming. They'd be stupid not to re-release Aladdin, one of their most successful, if not, yeah, one of their like top like three most successful movies of all time. They'd be dumb not to re-release it.
Yeah, so
I pulled that number out of my ass, but
it,
it's up there.
it is forthcoming, certainly. It's just a matter of when it's coming. So it will come. So just to keep an eye out for that. Like I said, news will be forthcoming on the Aladdin Diamond Edition. Hopefully that'll be coming soon. But that said, like I said, there are DVDs available of all three Aladdin films. Also a Blu-ray trilogy set. So do check those out if you can find them anywhere online. Give it a shot. eBay, Craigslist, something. And of course, just if you have your old VHS tapes, bust them out. It's a fun family evening together.
Yeah, and if you have kids who have never seen it before, or if you yourself have never seen it before, I do recommend pulling those movies out, find them, and watch them because they are really, really good. Again, the animation stands the test of time. And even by today's standards, the animation is really, really good,
It's
really
very good.
crisp, and both CG or otherwise, the animation is just really good. The music is phenomenal. Has my favorite Disney song ever in it, as I said before, which is kind of funny considering I feel that the Lion King's music is better. I much prefer the Lion King's music, but I love A Whole New World. It's just that song is awesome.
Well, that's certainly reasonable. That's why A Whole New World, like I said, it won an Academy Award, and
Yeah.
there's a good reason for that. Because it did win the Academy Award for Best Song that year of 92,
But it
93.
also has a great story, great messages and morals behind it, and yeah, just overall, it is a great movie, and
It
it
is.
deserves every accolade that it's ever gotten in its
Oh,
lifetime.
definitely. Totally and totally does. Well, I think we've pretty much exhausted the topic here.
I agree.
So, this has been our discussion of Aladdin. I'd like to thank Marcus Shadow for joining you for this little crossover.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. And with that said, like I said, do stay tuned. Sometime after this release, there will be a joint review of both Aladdin, the Return of Jafar, and Aladdin and the King of Thieves, the two sequels, direct-to-DVD sequels. Actually, the first two direct-to-DVD sequels released by Disney, and the only two that are good. So, King of Thieves more so. And I'll cut some slack to Lion King 2, but other than that, no.
Fair enough.
But anyway, yes, just so do stay tuned for more Disney month. Again, as I mentioned, we do have the three Aladdin film reviews. My top 20 Disney songs will be coming out at the end of the month. Also, as a joint review of both the two of us and our good friend Chris Aiken the Mole, due to the video game theme, we will have a review of Wreck-It Ralph. That
And
will,
don't forget your Rush
uh,
from the Airwaves review of the
I'm getting
Hercules
to that.
Aladdin
I'm getting to
crossover.
that. I'm getting to that.
I thought you would have put it in with all the Aladdin stuff first.
I'm getting to that.
Sorry.
I was doing all the movies first.
Okay, fair enough.
And as Marcus attempted to mention before I got him off, I discovered recently, I wasn't aware of this, I was, of course, aware that there was an Aladdin animated series. I was a big fan of it growing up. Well, I don't have time to review the whole thing, unfortunately. I will hopefully get to that. It's on my list. But I found out there's actually a crossover episode in which the characters from the Aladdin animated series and from the Aladdin movies actually meet the characters from the Hercules animated series. It's an episode of the Hercules animated series entitled Hercules and the Arabian Night, and it was made after the end of the Aladdin animated series and after the King of Thieves film came out to bookmark the franchise. But it's a really good crossover, very fun. All original voice actors come back except for Genie, and I will have a review of that coming out as well. I'm going to take a look at this episode, dissect it a little bit, see what we got. So stay tuned for that also. This has been another Rise from the Airwaves Showtime crossover for Aladdin. Until next time, gonna throw out your catchphrase there, Marcus.
No,
No. You want to promote anything upcoming?
nothing that I haven't already promoted. I have a lot of stuff slated. Just have to find the time to actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the Wreck-It Ralph thing is probably the only thing coming. Depending on when this goes up, I've also done a crossover with Chris the Mole over at the Gaming Zone, and we reviewed Sonic the Hedgehog, the animated movie, or as it's known in Japan, the OVA. Yeah, the American dubbing on that's terrible, but we'll watch the review for that.
Well, there you go. Check that out too. Marcus Shadow
And
has
that's
spent.
part of his Sonic month.
Indeed, Sonic Month is over on the Gaming Zone. Do check that out. Oh, that said, Marcus Shadow has been here showing you the light. I guess in this case it's the light from the lamp. And I'm James Phoenix. I'll see you next time when I rise from the airwaves and the ashes for another Arabian night.